morning and welcome to another edition of Friday's Financial Fitness. Today I would like to spend some time talking with you on a subject that I get most of my questions on, and that is on retirement income. So I've decided to put together a three-part series from a workshop that was originally from Morningstar's presentation. And so for the next 3 weeks, we will talk about a lot of the topics that I've already talked about in the past, but I will put it together in a 3-week series called Retirement Income Strategies. So the first chart that I want to show you shows the various risks that retirees face in retirement. Longevity risk is the risk of a retiree outliving their portfolio and is especially a concern for those taking advantage of early retirement or those who have a family history of longevity. The second risk is solvency risk, and solvency risk is really the risk of Social Security and Medicare and possibly pensions that may be forced to reduce their benefits over time. The third risk is savings risk. According to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, in the third quarter of 2005, the personal saving rate reached an all-time low of only 2.2%. However, in 2012, it rebounded to 9.2%, and currently it is around 5.6% as of the fourth quarter of 2016. But certainly people not saving enough can be a risk. A fourth risk that I've mentioned before is inflation risk. Inflation simply erodes the value of the retiree's savings, and it could reduce their overall ability to maintain their lifestyle. The fifth risk is market volatility risk, and market volatility risk can cause a portfolio values to fluctuate both up and down over time. If the market drops or corrects during early retirement, the portfolio may not be able to have enough cushion for the added stress of the systematic withdrawals. And a sixth risk is the retiree's spending risk. This risk is self-explanatory, but ultimately it's when the retiree needs to be conscious and be aware of their spending habits. Lastly is withdrawal rate risk that I will get into more detail throughout this series, but retirees will need guidance on what withdrawal rates may be sustainable over their retirement. The second chart discusses the risk of outliving your investment portfolio as people's risk of living longer and longer. In the United States, the median life expectancy of a 65-year-old man and woman is 86 and 88 respectively. So what people don't realize is that is the median. In other words, half of the population will live longer than 86 and 88 if you were man or woman, again, respectively. The chart above shows the probabilities of a 65-year-old living to various ages. For example, there's a 25% chance that a 65-year-old man will live to be 92, and a 65-year-old woman could live to be 94. Also, there's a 25% chance that the average 65-year-old couple, that at least one of the spouses could live to be 96. The last chart I want to touch on is on the need for the retirees to replace a significant amount of their income once they retire. In the financial planning world, we often refer to this concept as the replacement ratio, or better known as the percentage of pre-retirement gross income needed in retirement to cover the expenses and maintain the pre-retirement standard of living once the retiree officially retires. Many financial advisors suggest a replacement ratio of 70 to 90% once you do in fact retire. This graph was produced by Aon Hewitt, and what it shows us is what the pre-retiree's income is at the bottom of the graph and what the average income replacement was needed based on the pre-retirement income level. So if we take a look at the very bottom, if someone has a pre-retirement income of $30,000, they will need 91.8% of that $30,000 once they do in fact retire. If we move up to someone who has a pre-retirement income of $50,000 of income, the average percentage of income needed in retirement would be around 83.8% of that $50,000 to live on once they retire to maintain their same lifestyle. And if we jump ahead to someone who has a pre-retirement income of $100,000, you can see that the retiree would need about 80% of that in retirement. Obviously, these are averages, so they could vary drastically for each retiree. Next week, I will discuss 3 other risks the retiree needs to be aware of.